Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Okay, so I've given a little thought to this, but more so just want to kind of sound off, see what comes out. So this is my opinion solely, but looking at the times that we're in terms of everybody's looking for authenticity. Everyone wants to clearly see people be, transparent. We're looking for transparency in different sectors, in terms of the financial market and politics. People just want transparency. They don't want to be lied to, and they don't want to be pandered to. They don't want any of that type of stuff at all. So, because I see that that's what's going on, that's how I read the tea leaves around me. That's the temperature. I think that we're in a space where we should be able to, as consumers, NBA fans particularly, listen to a player say, "Hey, you know what? Thank you, fans, for all that you've done, but I'm ready to move on and take my family to another region, play for another team." And that's that. We should be able to take that in. At this point in time, where we are, we don't need to be lied to as consumers. A guy like Dame Lillard, he wants to leave Portland, but he has to pretend he doesn't want to leave Portland so that the fans aren't hurt, so that the business side of it doesn't get jacked up if for some reason a trade were to take place and then get reneged upon like Chris Paul or something like that. But it's like, because the fans are seeing all this stuff play out in real time with the advent of social media and devices and information coming to us instantly and all that, the last thing we really need is to be PR'd. I don't need it. I literally don't need it, because each and every fan of the NBA particularly is looking around the league waiting for transactions. All ESPN and FS1 and all these other guys, Yahoo and all of them, they make their money off of movement and the rumors of such. So why should we pretend to not be in the understanding of a situation like Dame's, or a situation like AD's, or situations like James Harden? Just because I'm a fan of the team doesn't mean that I need to be lied to about the happiness of the player that I root for on the franchise that I root for. If he's unhappy, he's unhappy. If the situation turns toxic and he doesn't believe in it anymore, the situation turns toxic and he doesn't believe in it anymore. The notion that we need him to lie to us about whether or not he's happy about it, or kind of withhold information, even though he's clearly telling us, "I don't want to be here anymore, but I can't really say that because my PR people are saying that that's going to be hurtful to the fan." Like, nah, bro, this is a different world. This ain't 1997. We're not all in the dark about how all this goes. If the front office and the ownership isn't on point, then the player needs to be able to move, and he shouldn't be guilt tripped by fans, media, or the notion of fans and media, right? At all. They should be able to provide transparency, for which myself as a consumer, wants. If LeBron James finds that the Lakers are not the place for him tomorrow, I don't want him to pretend like he wants to be here just for him to up and leave. Why do you think people were so mad at KD? It wasn't just that he left. Why do you think people were so mad at LeBron James? It wasn't just that he left. It was the spectacle around leaving. All homie had to say is, "Look, Cleveland, I love y'all to death, man, but this situation is trash. Do y'all see who they got me playing with? Do you see how this owner is? Let me tell you how this owner is. Look at that letter he wrote. I love y'all. And if he gets the hell out the way, or if things change between us, I'll come back and win a ring with y'all. But for now, root for me on the other side, because I'm headed to Miami." And that should be enough. But the spectacle of it all, "I'm never going to leave, I'm going to promise you this, I'm going to take care of it," all that playing to the sentiment of the fan, that lead up is what ultimately brings you down when you have to be honest about being ready to go. We see that these owners do the best that they can to provide the best product, and in doing so, they have to be cutthroat in some instances in terms of how the game is played. Sometimes it doesn't look as fair on the outside looking in terms of how these players are treated. Sometimes we hear about these practices of not letting guys know that they're going to be involved in trades, and them thinking it's going to be one thing and it not. We've seen that play out so many different ways, from the up down to the player. But then we're supposed to act like the player's supposed to have loyalty to the fans, as opposed to it actually being compliant to ownership. Do you understand the difference between being loyal to the fans and being compliant to ownership? You see what I'm saying? We understand this. This is not something that the average fan can't absorb and see. He's not telling us F you to the fans. He's saying that the job that I have right now, I want to move jobs, fam. I want to move jobs. How many of us have said, you know what, this isn't the company for me. I want to elevate. I can't do it here. Let's go. That's an understanding that most people who work understand. That's an experience that we can relate to. But when you give it to me in the form of, this guy don't want to play for you no more. He wants to tear your hearts out of you and make all of you feel like he doesn't matter anymore. He wants to win a championship for somebody else and apply that loyalty he should be given to you to somebody else. That ain't what's going on. The dude's trying to move jobs. He doesn't hate the fans. All that he's done for the fans. In a lot of these cases, these people have come to your neighborhoods, brought gifts off during the holidays, been a part of different, NBA care situations for your neighborhood. They don't lose love for the streets because they don't want to have a job anymore. Who believes that? If you think that, then why are you applying loyalty to these guys in the first place? Why even root for a guy if you think he don't give a damn at all? Think about it. Or more or less, why do you care what it is? All it's about is sports, him doing what it is that he does, you taking from it what you do, which is entertainment and being able to root for something, gathering around your friends, drink a beer. The exchange is there. So why should it be more than that? Why does he have to be a symbol for your region? He's just a guy trying to keep a job, enjoying his dream, playing a game he loves. If he does it for you for 20 years and y'all have a bond that's special like Dirk and Dallas and Kobe in LA and Magic in LA, etc., then wonderful. But don't apply that to each and every player. Those situations and those relationships are special because they're organic, because they're true, because they are specific to those people and that person, that athlete. But it's not to be applied to everybody who puts on the uniform. No. All I'm saying is a guy like Dame should be able to give 8 years to the Portland Trailblazers, shake their hand and walk away without having to jump through hoops to make people feel better. When clearly his feelings are only being considered to a point. For he must forego those feelings in order to accomplish what it is that I just described. You think he liked getting up there saying, well, I kind of don't want to leave. I am requesting a trade, but, I'm not really requesting a trade because, we haven't quite gotten there yet. He's getting up there. You know what Dame want to say? I love Portland, but it's time to move on. And there should have been nothing in between that truth and our eardrums. Nothing. No PR, no circumstances, no norms that y'all look around and say, well, these athletes need to be better for us. No, none of that. Nothing should have been able to keep him from being able to be transparent with the public in that moment. And any environment or circumstance or surrounding that isn't sensitive to that needs to evolve, in my opinion. Simple as that. That's what I'm seeing. I want that to be one of the last times a guy has to get up on stage or get up on a podium and lie to us about what he needs to do for himself. If that's the case, he needs to just be quiet. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to say nothing at all if you got to get up there and kind of say it, but not kind of say it. And of course, that's not Dame's fault. I'm saying it's the circumstance that everybody has to play like this and do like this because of it. And it's just time for that to change. As a sports consumer, nah. We've seen behind the curtain. We don't need to act like we haven't anymore. That's all I'm saying. Of course, it's big respect to all the athletes. Of course, it's big respect to the fact that they don't necessarily have what I'm describing as a norm from which to act. Because if he would have did what I said do, he would be getting killed for it today. You see, I'm not oblivious to that. But what I'm saying is, I want to get involved in a world where that's not the case. Where he can say, thank you, Portland, but this ain't working out. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know I do. But if you're going to be rooting for me, you're going to be rooting for me on another team. It's okay. When I come to your arena, I don't expect that. You can boo, you can do whatever you got to do. We all know what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm not lying to you, and I'm not lying to myself, and I'm not insinuating otherwise until 2 weeks from now when it's okay to release the information. That is just PR nonsense. Outdated, not reading the room nonsense. Things are changing, and we don't want that no more. I don't. want to have conversations about what's real. How can we make it so that an environment like Portland isn't a place that a guy like Dame would ever want to leave? How can we apply the right formulas to assure that those environments are right? If we're still lying about those environments or kind of pretending, tiptoeing around those situations, then we're never going to see the overall improve on the environment itself, the overall ecosystem itself, the overall inner workings itself. That's why I always get up here and talk about things from a GM's perspective, because I want to see these teams be better for these athletes, so that when athletes come into the NBA, they can get the most out of themselves, get the most out of their potential, and leave this thing having gotten all out of their careers that they should have. No weird circumstances, no messed up GMs, no weird owners' practices and bullcrap compromising the integrity of these athletes' careers. That's where I come from as an analyst and as a person who wants to see things just done the right way in the NBA. So that's where I'm coming from. Like I said, it's just my opinion. It's a lot of things I don't understand as an outsider. Maybe I need to understand better. But like I said, I want to see things change around the situation so that what it is that I see can be. What it is that I hope to see can be, rather. Just more transparency. And if a guy don't want to say nothing, he shouldn't have to be forced to say anything. That's another thing. A guy like Kyrie Irving shouldn't have to talk to the media. That is a fallacy that they be pushing around, this notion that if the guys don't talk to the media, that the brand is not going to be able to be promoted. That is a lie. What that is the media trying to preserve their relevancy in the situation. You are still going to pay attention to the athletes if not another mother, father, son of any of us say another word about these sports. Now, granted, we do have a place, and I enjoy sports media, but don't let them lie to you saying that if a guy like Kyrie Irving doesn't talk to them, that you'll never know what's going on with the sport. That's a damn lie. And it's one that offends me personally. It's a lie. That may have been true back in the 80s when the NBA wasn't doing well, when Magic and the Bird hadn't come along yet. But not post LeBron, post Kobe, man, nobody has to say anything. Just put the product on the floor and people are going to pay attention. Freaking lie. They want to still be able to be in between the athlete and the public. That's what they want. They want to be able to control these narratives and continue to bully and move pieces around and try to draw from wherever they can pick money from in any situation. That's what sports media is. Compromised like any other source of media. It's a middleman that is no longer necessary. But they want you to think they are, so they're going to lie to you and tell you that these athletes need to talk to them in order to give you the best product. Bull crap. Bull crap. Because I promise you, if no athlete ever says another thing to another media members are still going to talk about the sport. Analysts are still going to address what they see. People are still going to be traded. We're still going to talk about it. We don't need to hear from athletes that don't want to talk to us. They've given us all they need to give us, man. They'll stop lying to the people. When these guys get on the floor and they throw their bodies around and they do what it is that they love to do and they do it at an excellent level, that is all they owe us. That's all they owe this league. Anything else is so that they can draw extra money from these people that they probably ain't paying them right for any damn way. Tell me I'm lying. How many times did you watch press conference clips, buddy? Are these players getting paid properly for each time that you see these clips? I'm sorry. I know I'm stepping on toes when I say stuff like this, but at some point we got to start addressing the hypocrisy and a lot of stuff that goes on and a lot of middlemen in different places finding themselves nestled in between the public and the real talent. And they will lie to us about why they're relevant and why they are needed when they are not. They wanted. They ain't needed. They're helpful. But they don't make it so that these players who play any better. If anything, they mess with their heads and make them play worse. Look at a guy like Kwame. They tortured his name. They torched his name all over the place. Got this guy out here mad. Getting back at people. He shouldn't even have to get back at nobody. He's an athlete, bro. He didn't ask to be a famous person necessarily. Some do, but most just want to be good at what they do. They just so happen to have a spotlight placed on them because of the greatness that collectively all great players will draw. The NBA is a vessel for us to see that greatness. The athletes are the meat and potatoes. The coaches and those who have their mind set on making it so that these athletes play the way they're supposed to. That's the meat and potatoes, the inner workings, the GMs, those that make these teams work. They're the meat and potatoes. People like myself, we just talking, bro. Athlete don't need to talk to me. I need him to talk to me, make me relevant. But he don't need to talk to my ass. And he don't need to talk to you. He just need to play. And someone like myself is willing enough to say it. Just because I'm reliant upon the athlete does not mean I need to lie to you about it. Because if they disappear, I ain't got nothing to talk about. And that's the realest thing I'm going to say here. My name is BDO44. I'm going to leave it at that. God bless all the athletes. God bless all the people involved. God bless the media members. I don't hate y'all. But it's time to stop lying to the public. And it's time to stop guilt-tripping these athletes into lying for us. So that we can have talking points. So that we can have things be just the right amount of mystery to keep people intrigued. A guy like Dame Lillard shouldn't have to cap for that. Just keeping it real. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.